right, well, we gotta get a little more energy in here or something.
Yeah, right. Maybe this will do that.
What's that?
The bucket fills.
Oh, bucket fills. Are we still listening to music?
Oh, yeah, I can stop that. I thought you were gonna turn it up. We're gonna have a dance party.
You don't want to do a loop in the background?
You have a loop in the background? All right,
That was just you, Kevin.
all right, and people on Zoom, and here comes
Yep, there's the people on Zoom.
Sign Box team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was there. I made it own.
Derek is bold, he has a sticker on. All right, bucket fills, let's go.
I'll bucket fill Kevin for bringing the heat Monday morning at Ignite. It was good. It was good.
Good. And go ahead.
I'll bucket fill Derek and Tammy and Sherry, all responding at 8 a.m. to let me know that I really didn't have to be at this bold because I figured it out at 8 a.m. that I had to be at bold at 9. So, this is the first one. So I went to an hour of it and, you know, it's just the introductory one, which we've been to like 8 times. So I'll be fully committed starting next Wednesday.
Nice, you met the bold instructor.
I did.
Who is it?
Some Dan Kittleson.
So. Dan Kittleson. Oh, I like
Darren.
it.
Darren Kittleson.
Darren
Yeah.
Kittleson.
Oh, Dan or Darren, one of those.
From Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's
Milwaukee.
a Packer fan, too bad this year, but.
Milwaukee.
Sun Prairie.
He's pretty sharp. What
Is he?
were your takeaways?
They are actually, it's interesting because right now what they're gonna do a couple things different. So they've got different tools. They have new tools and then they have some tools from 2010 that we stopped using that they're gonna bring back. Which Derek, you were there. I was there, 2010. I think that was the first year I was there. So we'll see if it's some, you know, something. that-
There is no chance.
There is no something that will change or whatever our destiny. Yeah.
Circumvent, hinder, or control
Wow, that's
the
impressive.
firm resolve of my determined soul.
I do have a really big takeaway though. Could affect everybody. And that is that there was something I didn't like, and I'm going to address it with the instructor right away.
Okay.
He said, huge mistake. He said, what we're talking about now in business is what's going to happen in 2023.
Yeah.
And then he went on to say, because it takes 45 days on average to, you know, to go from purchase to close or get a client to close, you know, so on and so forth. And I'm thinking to myself, well, hold on. I'm in bold because of what I'm going to do in bold in the next 30 days to close before December 31st. So I'm literally, that's one of the primary reasons I'm there. And so if you look at it, if you calculate it, it's very simple. We literally have 30 days. If it's a 45-day closing, raise your hand if you've had a 30-day closing. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So we have between 30 and 45 days to get business. If you sell 50 homes a year, you know, 50 transactions a year, buy, sell, right? Tons of people in the office do that. That's at least 4 in 30 days. So we better be focused on getting 4 more, you know, if not
Or
more.
your end.
Now. Yeah, it's like, and that's the whole thing. So then he went on to say the rest of the time, we need to go down, you need to take initiative, you need to move, you need to do it now, you know. Okay, well, then we need to be doing this now to close out the end of the year. And do not start thinking about 2023 unless it's business planning or something in the future. You know?
Yeah, well, I think yes, and right. I think there's very much truth that the work that we do now is 40. If we take a listing today, we're not closing 30 days from now, right? We got some work to do on the front end. We got all those things. So as we get into the fourth quarter, we start some of that's going to be right down here. Doing the work that's going to kick off in January. Don't have closing in January. Look back 60, 90 days. Here's why.
Yep.
Right. So we have to start some of that activity
For next year.
and there is activity that's out there, or there are activity to get results out there right now to close before then.
And that is a good point, because one of the most important things right now is that if you want to learn how to sell a house in today's market at a 7.25% interest rate, potentially going up more next week, freaking everyone out, then you got to sell a house in today's market. You know,
I mean, it's pretty realistic. The Fed's going to go up another 75 basis points, right?
sure.
That's what we hear. It's just, we might as well accept what that is. Does that mean mortgages will go up there? No, but we need to know that for we can future pace our clients, right?
So it's good.
Good.
I want to bucket fill Derek for leading our
Oh, yeah.
accountability group this morning. Always great. But it is good because he does bring a lot of thought provoking questions too and some new insight that you guys thought about. So I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
I love pitching in. That's fun.
Good, thanks, Derek. We should do one of these.
I will double down on that and everything Derek for having women in a very, very. He's out, yeah.
Well, I don't even know how it came up.
Did your watch? Or something?
That's funny.
I didn't hear anything you said.
Panic just filled your ears. No, I said I was gonna bucket fill him for dealing with 3 women in a very small space that all have very strong personalities. Emily hasn't gotten there yet, but you know,
You will.
Right, right. Well, thank you. I want to bucket fill my team. We, I put challenged them, let's say, to come up with some,
challenges are optional.
come up
Not optional.
come up with some new action items to put a boost into the business right away. And everybody's kicked in and or jumped in and rolled up their sleeves and gotten after it. So that's awesome. Leah, Amy, and Emily.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Want to bucket fill Mr. Rick for putting up with all my amateur questions. He's been busy as he is. He's been helping me out in some major crunch times, guiding me along the path, and I'm very appreciative of the help. I try to do as much as I can on my own, but he's been there for me and I appreciate it.
Awesome. There you go. Anyone online? Anyone have some bucket fills?
I do.
Go for it.
I just want to bucket fill Heather and Candy for covering me while I was gone last week.
Thank you. We sure missed you.
Some even more on the, oh my goodness. Lydia does a lot around here, so when she's done, it's interesting. All right, good. I forget where we're at here, so I'm just gonna go through and bucket fills.
I think we are going to, sorry.
What's next? Did you take my control away?
I think it doesn't work on.
Oh, it did. I have one. Oh,
Oh,
no,
no.
I have it.
Oh, it does work.
Oh,
There we go.
Please, you have control. Oh, good. You're all set then.
Yes, I am all set. All right. I was looking at SLS. SLS and Bold are happening. They're going on. We're hearing about them. Bold, if you haven't signed up for Bold yet, today is the first step. So you can until second step, which is a break. Is there next week no Bold?
There is next week.
Oh, there is. So it's not a break.
There isn't a break until Thanksgiving then.
Oh, gotcha.
2 through 7 and then Thanksgiving break.
Gotcha. So I encourage Bold all the time. I love Bold. SLS, it's pretty great. It's been going on, and one of the things I think is interesting is he says, okay, don't share everything except don't share this stuff because you guys have paid for it, all these different things. However, he said you can share it with your team. We're all a team, right? Are we all a team?
Very much.
There are a couple of things on there that I think were pretty important that happened, and today we're gonna spend a lot of time looking at the shift. And our last meeting last week, we sat in this room and we were just talking about these things, and then Tammy said, "Well, there's something different going on." I think there's definitely something different. And the takeaway I have from yesterday's SLS class that I thought was important was this. Says moving forward. Now remember, this was the nice thing about this class is it was written. So he's done it time before, but then he changed it as we've gone into this market, right? The class it has people from all different brokerages, so there's not a whole bunch of Keller, which sometimes we can do Keller, and sometimes maybe too much because that's who we are. It's part of our culture. But one of the things that I really liked in there that echoed what was happening in Shift, he says, moving forward, I think this is really important. Moving forward, we want to be sales, skills based and tech, marketing, and service enhanced. Not the other way around. You can have the best leads, you can have the best service, the best tech, and even the best marketing, but with little to no sales skills, you will lose to a Clover U trained agent every time. And I just thought, in the market that we were in, maybe our sales skills weren't as important, right? Because you want to buy this house, well, so do 17 other people. Give us the best offer, and someone's going to write it 30,000, 40,000 over, and it's just going to come in. Hey, I don't have to be able to talk with you at all about why we should price at this point instead of this point, because you're going to get multiples of it anyway. Now I have to work with you on some other things. And the sales skills based and tech, marketing, service enhanced, I just thought was, that's pretty big. And there's a whole bunch of other things. So yesterday in that class, we did that. And here's another thing he said. He says, he said, okay, here's what happened like 4 years ago. All the brokers got together and said, hey, people aren't prospecting anymore. They don't like it. So let's change the word. Let's call it lead gen. And then it can be a lot more passive and a lot more, and I think that's what's happened. And in the markets that we're in and moving into, just so you know, behind there and behind Bold, because Bold was created in the last shift, is let's get prospecting and let's go out and find business. The nice thing about prospecting versus marketing is costly and all those different things, but it's also it's not immediate. It's a spot where you go out and you say, hey, here's what's going on. It can do name recognition. Your social post can build long-term trust, but this might be a time where we get on the phone and say, hi, it's Kevin. Keller Williams, I noticed your home came on off. I'm calling for 2 reasons. This was the script this week. I'm calling for 2 reasons. One is to make sure that you know your home just came off the market. And 2, to find out what your intentions are for the property. Right? Today, in the last 7 days, there were 106 expired listings, 25 miles from this office. Of that, 70 of them, right? Does it say 70? 70 of them were new construction, which means 36 of them were previously owned properties. 4 of them were right in Plymouth. 1 of them was in Wayzata. They're right here. And the thing about an expired listing is that we know that they're motivated. They've already wanted to have the house on the market, and it's time to go after them. And if you got in business in the last 3 years, 2 years, it probably wasn't a big deal, but that might be another big deal. I was talking with one of my accountability partners from SLS, and he likes doing for sale by owner. And one of the things Jeff said yesterday at this SLS class is the first step in prospecting a for sale by owner is truly believing you can bring them more value than they can get on their own, right? So in the market before, and all you had to do is put the house on the market to sell it, and for sale by owners could do that just as easy as we could oftentimes. And buyer agents were out looking for sale by owners that they could bring their clients, because there wasn't anything else to buy. But now things are different. Do you have the sales skills that you need to go out and convert a for sale by owner to your client? Because now more than ever, we could bring them a great value, right? Yeah, so that's SLS. It's a lot of stuff that if you've been in real estate, you've heard maybe before, but it's again, I think it was Gary Keller that said, education without action is only entertainment. Education without action is simply entertainment. Go ahead.
The old instructor this morning said, there's so much education out here at Keller that what we're seeing, that we're building or that we're creating is lots of professional students. And he said, we don't want professional students. Don't be a professional student at Keller Williams. You know, identify which education is most important and implement it, you know, so I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
There's a lot there, you know, don't be mistaken. Doesn't Gary always say, you know, don't be mistaken, but what is it? Activity is not
up there.
progress or something. I know it's a bold law.
Gotta be up there. Don't confuse them.
All right,
Yeah.
don't confuse activity with progress. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. It's not on your calendar.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one too.
I think. Not on your calendar, it doesn't exist.
We're gonna actually talk about that principle today as we talk about prospecting a little bit. Good, good. So those are those two classes. Any other additions?
Still sign up for it.
You can still sign up for polls until next week, right?
Yeah, it's at Maple Grove, but the Maple Grove Keller Williams Market Center.
It's about as convenient as it is. I mean, it's right, it's not even really Maple Grove because the far.
Right off 494.
east, right off 169 and like 3 days or whatever that
Which
is.
building is, which building is it?
A brand new building.
Their own building.
It's their own, they just built a brand new one.
Oh, so it's right off 690. Gotcha. Yeah.
694 and like Hemlock there, so super easy. So you don't have to go all the way up to farther. Go to the split.
What's the investment?
$7.99.
$7.99,
It's your payback
and
and
it's every Wednesday,
every Wednesday.
6 weeks.
They're 6 weeks.
Yep, it's a good one. You get scripts, you get accountability, you sit at a table, you really get to know the people at your table, you get
Yeah, I'll tell you the difference now, just, I went there to check it out, just to kind of get a perspective of this Kittleson guy and then also the environment. I think this is 8 for me or so. Derek's been 12 or 13 times. He's a slow learner. I always say that. Whoa.
you know what? I'll just say, I bet you Derek would be there right now if he weren't busy refocusing to do the activity that he got involved. I've noticed a ton of that lately, Derek, which is pretty fun.
This is good. But what I noticed there, which is going to be good, is that it's a much smaller group altogether. It's a much smaller group of people. Bold is usually 200 people in one room, you know, this is more like 80, which is gonna make it nicer. Because you're gonna connect with the people that are there, that we do business with. I mean, Maple Grove, Keller Williams, there's a whole ton of them there. You know, plus agents from all over. Nate Pence is there again, and I mean, there's, yeah, so. Yeah, it's good. It'll be a little bit more intimate and I think it'll be very good that way.
Awesome. Good. All right, anything else on these two? And I'm looking for your slide, so if I go too far, you just tell me, hey, I'm shutting out.
now I'm
Oh,
blocking you.
you got the power?
You're in the-
I didn't know it worked. It didn't work before.
Will you push the next one?
Kevin, what if I just happened to push it at the same time as you did? And it never really did work.
Okay, so I'm just up here to talk a little bit about our public Facebook page, because as we're
talking about like, what do we want that to really look like? And how do we then take the stuff that you guys want on there and put it on there? So one thought that we had was, things that we see you guys post on maybe your own private, business page are your open houses, your coming soons, your new listings. When I go onto your guys' pages, I see those things. So we're like, well, how is the easiest way for us to then put those maybe on our public page? So then when clients are maybe checking out like, oh, what, brokerage are they with? And they go to our public page, they can see, wow, that there's a lot of activity on here. They do have a lot of new listings. They have, open houses coming up. First of all, conversation, is that something that you guys would want on the public page?
Yeah.
And so then our second thought was like, well, how is it easy for you guys to make sure that we see it? And then how is it easy for us to put it on there? And so one thought that we had is if you guys share it with our private group, so our private page, then we can easily just take your post and put it on our public page. What do you guys think about that? Okay.
This is
And that's different than tagging us. They have to post it.
You have to share it to the private group. So after you go ahead and put it on your page, just share it with our private group. And then us as admins will see that and we'll be able to easily just take that then and put it onto our public page.
We do that to Facebook and Instagram. Are we doing Instagram as well?
Yeah. And
we're
we,
gonna-
yeah, we haven't gotten as, yeah, please do both.
Yeah.
And,
You get notified when people tag you though?
we do get notified when we're tagged, but it goes into like the mentions and stuff. It doesn't, like, we really want some more content on the page.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if we, just my 2 cents, I think the Facebook group is gonna get very bogged down with this stuff and lose value. Where if people tag you, then yes, you get the mention, but then you should be able to click and find the original post and then share it. So then the agent actually gets credit for their post anyway.
And like, you mean like find it and then share it on the public page?
No, so like if our clients tag our business page, because I'm an admin, I get a notification up in the corner, just like if a friend tagged me. So I can toggle and switch to our business page.
Yeah.
And then from there, I can see what we were tagged in. And then the business page can actually reshare what that person tagged them in. So then it will still show that Rick's team is actually who's got the coming soon or has the open house. The office is just spreading it out to whoever follows the office page. And if more people like this idea, great. I just think the Facebook group's gonna get bogged down and lose value.
All of our posts have got all our stuff on it. So don't yours do too, right?
Yeah.
So to have all of your
I'm just,
name and everything.
my biggest concern is the Facebook group's gonna lose value. Cause I'm not gonna wanna sit there and scroll through, no offense, but everyone's coming soon open house to find if someone wants to mastermind on something.
Correct.
And
We were doing that, yes.
like, that would be really annoying.
So what
That's
kind of
good
things would you
feedback.
like to see on the public and private page?
But I think you can still post these things. I think just a different strategy of notifying you. Where we would tag the business page and then you can still post them on the public one, like you're saying. I think that's great. I think that's huge value. I just don't love the idea of the way to get there being posting in the private group.
Because it'll.
I'll never know that it's looking for a month.
Like, I don't need to know about people's open houses and price reductions and stuff, but it's good for the public page for that.
Right.
But if we're talking about like trying to get open houses covered or,
If someone wants to mastermind, like I'm running this, or I need someone to help with the showing. Those are never gonna get seen if everyone's posting all of this in that private group.
All right, so Heather asked a question. Her question was, what value or what do you want on the private page? Right?
Private or public, I heard her say.
Private page.
So I don't.
The public page, we can post those things. We want the general public to see those kind of things, but we don't want us to get bogged down on our private page, right?
Can I ask one simple question? Can you, if you post your thing on your page, can you share it with the public page, with our public Keller page?
I can take the public Keller page
tag
in,
it.
I can
not-
tag it. By us tagging it, you will be notified.
shows up on the
Lydia's got it. Yes, yes, and then
But
you
not
can
on
just.
the,
Private one. Not on the private.
or, but not on the, you know, the feed. It just
It
shows
will
up
not show up on your feed unless you reshare it,
unless you reshare it through the public page.
which is what you were proposing anyway. Because we'd have to share it to the private group for you to then take it, and then it actually will cut down an entire step for you.
If you just share it to the public page.
If I
We-
tag you and then you reshare,
And then we reshared it from the mention to the public page.
100%.
Got it.
We have one going today, we can use the subject.
So then, okay, so then back to, yeah, what's the
Who
private,
loves writing up like on this kind of stuff?
Jess does.
Wow.
so what should be on the,
Because I don't actually. It's what company will say. People asking for, can someone cover my open house?
So open house needs.
What she.
Open house coverage, showing coverage. I just got out of an inspection, like Jordan on our team is dealing with this right now, and of course I can help him through it, but I'm thinking about people that aren't on a team. Like Jordan has someone who's out of the inspection contingency, but now wants half a sewer line replacement covered. No. So like, cause that stuff, yes, I know people have gym for, but also like, you can mastermind these issues too. So I would say
Mastermind
anytime you're
question.
masterminding,
Vendor referrals.
yeah, who's got someone that does this,
Sewer line.
yeah.
General real estate questions,
could an
maybe
agent,
not gym related, but house related, you know?
could also another agent post on there like Wednesday and say, I'm looking to host an open house.
100%.
And I don't have one.
100%.
By the way, if that's your only strategy to get an open house from a listing agent, you might want to do a different one.
Okay.
I think it's intended to.
In tandem is great. But if that's your only strategy, that's.
Contact board.
What do we not want on there?
Close, like this.
I don't want to see your coming soons, your open houses, your new listings.
I do want to see your pre-list.
Yeah, if you've got a
Your
without,
office exclusive?
yeah, that's a do, yeah.
Yeah.
That means it's not on MLS.
Not on this list. Or you've got
Not
a
even coming
wannabe
soon.
buyer need, got a, like a
Oh, not
buyer.
even coming soon.
Not even, so you don't want to see the coming soon.
I mean, I can see them already.
Everyone else can see them, yep,
Yeah, that's
okay,
not exclusive.
okay. I
You
like,
can't show it,
Just listed,
right?
just sold.
what's that?
We can't show it. Withheld.
Don't
With
want
gold, I wanna
public
know.
activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lindsay, you're a good agent.
I think this is a great forum for if the office is trying to take a poll.
Okay,
That is a great forum for the office to take a poll. Like, hey, if we bring back this, who would attend? That's, like, that's a great forum for polls.
Office announcements.
Yeah, yeah.
And training. Sorry. I got a little excited there.
I do have a question. I do have a question because sometimes I think, trainings can be on there and we can be a training company maybe a lot, right? So where does it become, we've seen this 100 times and where's maybe there a call to action on that? I think is one of those spots where I think it can be on there a certain number of times, it'd be a resource to go find it, but not just, hey, this thing is here again because we need another place to put it.
And maybe this is in there and I just am not in the group enough. I don't know everyone here and it's really helpful when like new agents are announced in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's also a good way probably for new agents to feel welcome.
We do that.
Great.
So
She was doing that on the.
Great, I'll do that.
Oh, she was only doing it on our public one, not in the
I would
private.
do
So we
the-
can
I would
switch it
do
to
in
the
the-
group.
I would do it in the private too.
Perfect.
What else?
What about like the numbers? Congratulations, the rankings.
I actually think that's great on the public page because then the agent can reshare it. Because personally, I don't like to be like, ooh, we're number 3. But if someone else says, hey, they're number 3, and then I can share it, then it doesn't feel as egotistical.
Yes, that's nice.
So that was on the public page.
That I would
the
prefer
rankings
that on
and
the
stuff.
public page.
And then then, I think one of the things about the public page we have to remember is the private page is a family kind of, hey, we got some things here we can address. The public page should only be good news, right? Because that's our public face to everyone else.
Good news and advertising or good news?
Yeah, yeah.
I do posts looking for investors, short-term type rental. That could be a resource for other, if people are running into that for our office, as well as I'm seeking new clients. And that's already been effective. So is that something that I would tag the office on and they would share it publicly, or how would I process that?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Zoom. You've been kind of quiet. What are your thoughts? Do you have anything you want to add?
There's nothing in the chat.
All right.
Okay, well and I think that's kind of how we,
Yes.
that's, oh, so I think that's what we've been doing. We were just wondering, I think really if you wanted this stuff to go somewhere, which all goes to the public page.
On the public page.
I do think I do love the idea. Like when we moved into this office, we thought, okay, how are we going to take market share as a full market center, right? And I do think that getting back, because I know it's not something new, but tagging, when we put things to tag the Keller Williams office as a whole, I think is a great strategy. Let's just overwhelm them with, oh my goodness, Keller has 20 new listings coming on this one weekend alone. You know, just that kind of thing. I think that's one of the things where it helps all of us. And I was thinking a lot about this. And it's hard to say sometimes as like previous leadership, right? But to go, what's the value? And actually, I want to go right into this. But what's the value of the market center to me and my business, right? In a great market, there are some things you can do. You can train someone who doesn't know it already, right? That's a great value because the challenge is when we have a really experienced person, how do we bring value to our agents that are already out there doing the business? And incomes are higher than they've ever been, all those different things. In a shifting market, I think that changes. I'll never forget in 2016, the market was good, by the way, in 2016, but we established habits. The people that were in real estate before that established habits that had not worn out yet. So every morning, I could walk in at 7:30, and if I was participating or not, there were at least 5 different people making phone calls with each other. They were scripting and practicing all over. That's value. To be able to say, I walked over to Wendy and I wanted to throw this question out there too. There was script, and when I first got on, I called expireds all the time. And the only time I really hated it was with doing a Bolt 100 where it just felt like, oh my goodness, calling. But all the time. Today, after this, I said, okay, I'm going to do expireds again. So I sat down, which maybe was my first mistake. And I got it all ready. And I said, okay, I'm going to call this person. And I'm like, no, all of them, I still have I have new construction people. I'm going to delete all the new construction people so I don't even have to go through it. So I spent about 15 minutes doing that. Then I'm like, okay, I'm going to call this person. And then I go, oh, they're on the do not call list. I'll call the next person. And I got the next person to call. I said, oh, I'm not really sure how to say their last name. I'll call the next person. So I went and I'm like, come on, Kevin, call this person. So the third one I dialed up and I called. And of course, the person answered. And I said, hi, this is Kevin with Keller Williams. I'm reaching out for 2 reasons. One, I want to make sure your home came off the market. And 2, I'm just curious what your plan is moving forward. We're going to list it this weekend. Great. And I didn't, but I remember standing with Christy Kimbrell. And what happens is the next line is, if your home did sell, where were you going to move to? Right? And then, oh, what's important about that? Instead, I said, oh, are you gonna list with the same agent? Yep. All right, goodbye. And as soon as I did that, what I heard was Christy going, Kevin, say the next line. Say the next line. And I think there's a value in a Christie being in the same spot, who's part of our market center, saying, say the next line. And I think we're gonna get to a spot, and we're in the spot, we're moving forward, we're gonna be able to look at each other and go, what am I missing? Because this isn't working. And someone will say, this. It's clear to them, it might not be clear to us, but as we're a market center and we collaborate with each other, you can go, this is what you're missing. Oh, thank you for that. And I think that's where, in this tough market, not tough market, that's a bad choice of words. In a shifting strategic market, I think is what it was. In a strategic market, the partnerships that we have with each other, the relationships, the culture of our market center becomes more and more important. Any thoughts on that?
Do you want me to switch the slide and you go up front? Thanks for the Facebook stuff. Yeah, what were you guys saying? That you were gonna.
That's part of bringing value though. Having a Facebook page where we work together, we collaborate, we bring value to each other is part of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think more and more, right, is, and it's fun because I just say it to myself too. This summer was fantastic. I love the summer. And what happened from my highest production month ever to, okay, it's September, come back to work. The market shifted. It changed quite a bit, right? And I was totally okay. I have the habits, when I step into the habits, they'll get me back there. But I go, this is when the value of the market center is really important. There's a reason Derek is looking like he did in 2016 again, right? So if you have your shift books, today we're gonna look at shift.
I don't have mine because I brought mine home to read it.
Did you?
Good job.
Well, you want me to say that, Chris?
Well, no, I have two. One's at home and the other one's at home. So I should just keep one here. I guess.
Gotcha.
So what I'm thinking about is like, as you're walking through that scenario on the call is, and I'm getting, unused to, not accepting no. And it's been like common practice for me to accept no from somebody and move on. And I don't know the exact numbers. And yet I know that Diana says that, or said that, like, it's something like over 90% of agents will never get to the fifth no. And that's the no that's going to get you the business, because if you keep pushing beyond and asking for the close in a different way, people, they're saying no because they're not quite ready to say yes. They're not saying, or they're, you know, it's not like that's their final answer. They're trying to get off the phone, or trying to not accept reality, or trying to, you know, get out of it in whatever way they can.
Yeah, that first no is just a conditioned response that all of us do, right?
Sure.
Walk into Nordstrom, Pete, can I help you? No, find a pair of pants. Wait, I need help, right?
Even though I know I need help. Like, no, I can't find a suit by myself. Not that I'm gonna buy a suit. That's a bad example. But like, that's it. Like, I know I need something, and yet I say, no, I'm fine. Let me stand over here for 10 minutes. Not get any.
Yeah. Yeah, and yes.
I did scripting with Dana this week. She said, how many times do you need to close to get an appointment? The average is 7. And as we were doing it, she was scripting with us and she said, she's doing the script and then she'd hold up her finger. That's the first close.
here's the second close, here's the third one. And not all of them were required a no, but they required you to agree to go into the next part of the conversation. That there were a lot of different closes along the way that I didn't even realize were part of that. That as I'm growing that sales skill, that is definitely something that's gonna require greater mastery going forward.
Do you still have interest in selling your home? No. Well, if you did, where would you move to? You know, like, I haven't asked that question for a long time.
Right.
Or like,
And that's the next line.
yeah, exactly. It's I'm like a flashcard. I have the flash.
Dust off my flash.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would dust off my flashcards and do scripting with people in the morning if you guys come in.
Okay,
Not
so here's my challenge with this, right? And, the challenge is multiple different people have said it. And Colleen, I love that you said, yeah, I would do that, right? Shane has said he'd do it. Derek, at one point you said you would do it. The challenge, the challenge is, you know what the challenge is? Yeah, it's not the person that says, I'll do it. It's the others,
Yeah.
right? It's the, wait, I'm fine. I don't need to do it yet. I'm good. And maybe we're getting to the spot where if you go, hey, I'll do it. Anyone else? Let's do this. On a piece of paper in front of you. 1 to 7, 1 to 10, you cannot use 7. Okay, 1 to 10, you cannot use 7. Where would you rank yourself on your, let's just do this, new business getting skills. I might call it sales skills or whatever, but where would you rank yourself on attaining new business? Okay. You don't have to share any of this. Next one is, where would you rank yourself on, now you're sitting down at a table, you've got the appointment, right? So you've got the appointment. Now, where would you rank yourself 1 to 10? You cannot use 7 on getting a signed contract. Attaining a client. Now you have a client. What's the next step in this? I got the appointment, I have a client. I was looking for feedback, but where would you, you're on the market now, where would you put your sales skills on negotiation? 1 to 10. Don't feel bad, by the way, if they haven't been great before, because it used to be, for the last 9 months prior, it was how big of an offer can you write and how quickly can we get it to them, right? So now, where would you rank yourself 1 to 10, not using a 7 on your negotiation skills? And then the last one, 1 to 10, where would you rank yourself on continuing the relationship after closing? Okay. Don't go too specific. You could have a possible 40. What numbers do you guys have?
24, me too.
24. Anyone else have numbers? 21. 21 again? Okay.
Negotiating is like negotiating the inspection, negotiating the price, all of that, right?
Yeah, it's, hey, we
After you have the
had the
contract
market up.
posted.
the house on for 10 days and showings have stopped. what might we need to do? We've had it on, we've had 10 showings, no offers. What might we need to do? How do I have that? Maybe a price reduction, right? How do we have that conversation? Can I negotiate with my client? Guys, negotiate with my client in the first spot of, hey, we gotta price your house right. And right does not mean what that sold for last time. What do you mean? Why won't we go there? Well, can you negotiate? Okay, out of your 4, which one ranks the highest for you?
Relationship after.
Continuing relationship after closing. So that's a servicing thing, right? Like that, and it makes sense that ranks high because that's kind of what's been important lately is that servicing part. And yeah, so that's really important. Yeah, good. What else? What's ranks high? Negotiating. Okay, what makes you a good negotiator?
Like I've been taught like a lot of just options from a selling standpoint, what's important to the sellers.
Gotcha.
My weakest is the new business, so very far apart on that.
Anyone else?
I saw that as a two, actually for me, coming in new with on the closing side, I gauge that as a 2-part question. Because I've had business success in a lot of those areas. I'm ramped up in those areas, but I need to learn what's applicable, what are the specific top 10 objections in real estate or whatever they are to ramp up specific to real estate. So are you going to lead us into what we can do to ramp those numbers up?
Well, I don't think it's a one-day thing, but yeah, I think that's one of our spots is we have to look at where is our challenge, like objection handlers. Maybe that's one of the things we gotta take is, okay, what are the 10 objections you're getting right now? What's an objection that you get right now?
We don't want to reduce the price.
Okay. Who wants it?
I don't think it's a quick handle though. Like, I think it depends on, personally, I'm not taking listings if they're not pricing them right at the beginning. And if we're not in agreement that, fine, we'll do your price and we'll test the market. But if we don't have an offer or we don't have 10 showings in 10 days, then we go to my price.
Sometimes the best defense is a good offense, right? So in those spots, if we can say, hey, here are the things that might come up, right? We might put here, just so you know, I advise you to price here. I'm your fiduciary. I will agree to do this.
And
Will
maybe,
you agree to do this?
and maybe Kevin, because I think I'm seeing this a lot right now with co-list agents when we're repping buyers, is one, I think agents are missing the mark on pricing things too. So if you're in that boat and you can relate to that, honestly, the easiest script and the easiest objection handler is an apology. Kevin, when we met, the market was doing this, and I didn't prepare you well enough for the speed at which the market was declining. The reality is this is what's happened. I know you don't like it and I don't like it, but for us to be competitive in today's market today, because you still want to sell, Wendy, don't you? Awesome, then we need to price here. Take responsibility. Like, no, they're going to be pissed if you don't. Like, then they're mad. But the minute you say, like, you know what, I am really sorry and I apologize, it completely changes the conversation.
And of course, we're texting that, right?
That is a phone call. That is a phone call. As a phone call, or honestly, it's face to face.
Face to face in my book. David says you never ask for a price reduction over the phone. You always do it. Toe to toe.
So I'll help Derek out a little bit because he's stubborn and he doesn't want to change his.
Derek has all these overpriced lists.
So Derek, I know that this is hard. You don't want to adjust your price at this time. There's a couple of things that are important for us to consider. One is that we've talked about this before. There are 2 things that we can control. We can control the condition and we can control the price. What the market does, what the buyers do in the market, that's not entirely up to our control. We do the best we can to attempt to predict what's going to happen, but here we are today. We have tons of feedback that tells us that your condition is spot on. There's no issues with condition. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so the other piece that we've got to work with is the price. That's it. So with that said, now we just need to decide if you want to sell this house this year or we want to go into next year. So let's talk briefly about what we know right now. What we know right now is it still is very low supply. We also know what the interest rate is today. It's at 7%, right? We do know that you've had good activity and we're going to continue to get that activity, but no one's writing offers and the condition is not the issue. So now would be the time to make the adjustment in price if you want to sell it this year. Next year, unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if the value of this house is going to be lower. We don't know if the interest rates are going to be higher. If you're an optimist, you might think that they'll be the same, but there's a high probability that they're going to continue to go up because that's what the industry is predicting right now. So that's the way I would handle that. And then ask them if they want to sell this year, or if they want to roll the dice and worry about what's going to happen next year.
The easiest way to do that is I do a lot of what Rick says, but a little bit shorter. And I just say, you know, Rick, we didn't anticipate the interest rate spiking like they did in July. And I'd really hate for them to spike again in December. And you'd be even more frustrated that we didn't get in front of it.
Yeah.
Because now you're saying like, we didn't anticipate that. And it happened. There's more things that we cannot anticipate because we don't have a crystal ball. So do you want to take action now or do you want to risk it? And 90% of people are going to be like, I don't want to risk it. They're risk adverse. They don't want to risk it.
I like that you said shorter because,
Talk too much.
it's easier to remember and for both parties, for us right now and that person on the other side. Get lost in that. But what I like that both of you did is you referred to your previous conversation, right? So we missed it. It wasn't because we weren't educated at the time. It's because this has changed and we didn't predict it was going to happen, but now we're doing what we did back here to make sure we get on what we would learn from that spot. I thought that was really good. And the thing that I noticed the difference is, both of you had we in yours a lot, where Bethany, yours was more. I like your sense of if I don't apologize for this or if I don't own my part on this, they're going to be ticked off. If I go in right away and address that on the front end, now we're on the same team again, right? Now we're doing that.
Well, and just really quick, because what Rick said is super valuable about the condition and the price. Sometimes the condition will show up though in the feedback. And it's condition that, so what I've seen is sometimes my clients will be like, well, no, the only reason they didn't like my house is because I don't have this fourth bedroom. Absolutely. So unless you want to add a fourth bedroom, then we have to adjust. Like, so even if the condition isn't perfect, any of that feedback you can still use because they're going to use it for defense. You then can use that for offense on like, hey, yeah, but unless you want to add that fourth bedroom, we're not even like priced correctly. And do you want to know what it would cost for us to add that bedroom? And you know, whatever.
Well, it's gonna be 50 grand. We can reduce your home by 25. What do you want to do?
I occasionally have a client who sees their home differently than I do. What I've done in the past has been really helpful is to walk them through homes priced where they think their home should be priced. And then walk them through 2 homes where they're priced where I think they should be priced. And ask them, you know, do you have granite countertops? Did you update the bathroom upstairs? Did you know, and kind of go through, what is the square footage of this up? What was yours again? And kind of just walk them through that. Because sometimes people can't see what they can't see. And I have to walk them through houses.
And what you've done is you've shifted their brain from being the seller to being the buyer's perspective. Yeah.
You can, from a long time ago, I set up searches for my sellers so that they're seeing, and it's called XYZ home competition, home sale competition. So they get a snapshot of what's active or coming soon and pending in their area, their price point, everything, so that they see all of the homes that are coming on and the ones that sell really quick or, you know, that language. And then I found in the past that just, it helps them to understand the actual competition for their house. You know?
Walk through it.
Well, right. I mean, that way, at least they know. Yeah. Or they might.
Sarah, do you mean physically go to a house?
Yeah.
So we've been talking about service oriented business. That's it. I don't know that I would get there. You know, I would do it online, but that if you want to get the listing and you want to land on a price and you want that client to respect you, then
That's usually
Yeah.
for listings that I already have where I'm asking for a
the
price. reduction.
price reduction.
I like, it. Let's go walk through and compare.
Wow.
I did that. Sherry had a home listed just down the road from the home I listed, and I walked her through that home.
Okay.
And I was like, this
Based on the difference.
this much square feet. This is what they're priced at. Your home is definitely smaller, but maybe in a little bit better condition. So this is why I think it should be priced at this. So it was easy because it was like 2 blocks away, you know, but like, so we just walked there.
I think especially older people, you need to do that.
I think you can also prevent some of those conversations by being more prepared going into those things. Like, do your market research, find that market, know what the homes are going for, know what they've gone for, what is inside of those homes, so that you can better price them correctly. It's much more about preparation than to save yourself a lot of time on the back end. By being more prepared.
Almost like we have to be market experts.
Here.
Yeah. And we didn't have to be. Like, that's the piece. We just had to be fast. We had to be fast, right?
Purchase agreement filled out before you go see the home, and they're like, yeah, we want to buy it. All right. Head off.
Go ahead, Pauline.
I hear a lot of people hacking. And I like this kind of market because then I can show up as an expert and help people through a problem. And I'm good at that.
You know what? It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be a really good market for the realtor who has the skills or is willing to go get them and do the work to get them. It will be a very challenging market for someone who says, I don't think I need to change anything. I'm just gonna do what I'm doing. And I'll just let my sphere do things. I'm not gonna really reach out to them, but I have friends there. Just so you know, in this next market, the experienced, the skills based, the agent that's growing their business during this time will be reaching out to your friends, right? Because they will not find business as easy either. So they're going to do the skills that they need. They're going to make sure they are using the skills that they need to go find business. And that means the defaults that just work with you because you're easy are all hearing from someone who's well-trained, equipped, and is doing it. And they're going to choose that person because that's what's best for them. So that's kind of where I see, we're going to be in the tale of two. Some of us are going to have the best year ever, and others might be in a spot where they go, I can't. And that's why I really believe we got to dive down into, we don't have the skills, we have to get the skills, whether that's a refresher and we're practicing, or, hey, I have never been in this before, I got to go out and get it. Gary Keller was on Inman, right? Anyone listen to
I
Inman?
have the recording. If anyone, I was thinking about putting it up in here afterwards.
You listened to Gary on Inman. What are a couple of your takeaways?
I just heard a couple of snippets that I caught. And one of them was, and I heard it from 3 different people over the last week, the path is in the map. Like, your way forward, it is statistical, it's chartable, the path is in the map, and you gotta know your numbers if you know your way forward.
All right. How many of you guys were in real estate when we track our numbers? Great. We still track our numbers, so and we could have all raised our hands, hopefully. What are the things we track?
Non-tax.
Okay,
Or are you talking about lead gen? I'm sorry, that's more lead gen.
I want to know all those things that we track. What do we track?
Appointments,
Listings taken.
fire rep contract signed.
Closing.
Profit.
What percentages of your business is buyers or listings? Or is that buyer rep? and listing?
Yeah, so then if we track these things, we can do that. We can go, okay, where's my business? 60-40? Is it 50-50? Is it 30-10? I mean, 30-70? Right? What if we're not getting any appointments? Where do we have to go? Contacts. So then we gotta figure out, wait. No one's calling. I mean, no one's picking up the phone. I'm not talking to anyone. So then actually there's something right above here. What's could go right above here?
Calls. Dials.
That's a good
Calls, this could be texts.
Call Gary.
method.
you-
I like that word. Good.
Yeah, method.
Yeah, right? If we can track this, someone can say, hey, you know what? Activity, there you go.
There it is. The real word.
The real word. Thanks
Is that
for,
what you said, Kurt?
thanks for teeing it up for me.
No problem.
You can't credit it.
I heard that.
How many of you believe that you might need a different amount of emails sent out to get a contact than you do maybe a phone call,
A lot of emails.
right? So if you're in a spot where you're going, I'm not getting any contacts, and I'm reaching out all the time, I'm sending out 100 emails a day. Maybe, or maybe you go, okay, now you gotta send out 10,000 emails a day or something, right? But if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what's working and what's not. And so you can't go back and go, wait, I'm going to look at this, right? If you go, man, I'm not getting any listings taken. Your coach would say to you, well, how many appointments did you go on? Because until they know this, they don't know if it's a contact problem or if it's a skill-based problem between here and here. And if they don't know it, it's probably because you don't know it, right? And the only way we know this is by tracking our numbers, right?
And then I'd also say if your conversion ratio is too high, right? Like our conversion ratio is very high, which Jess literally said yesterday, then she goes, we're not going on enough appointments.
Right, what are we
Because
missing?
We're just getting the slam dunks where we need to face more rejection.
Need to go on unmet appointments.
It goes both ways. Like you need to know your conversions to know like you're not even close to hitting your potential. I
Right,
think the MREA model is like you should be at 80% conversion or even 70. When you're running 95% conversion, you're just not willing to be told no.
You also totally need to know where your business is coming from.
Absolutely.
That's another big number to know is what percentage of where your business is coming from. To see where you need to work on or to see what works.
Well, and then why wouldn't you just double down on what's working?
Exactly.
that is today's whole conversation. Is I want you to take out a piece of paper, say it could be the same piece of paper, and I want you to write down 10 lead sources, business sources that you have. If you haven't had 10 closings, maybe your number could be smaller unless you've been doing it. So these are lead business prospecting things that you are doing. What are 10 of them? Hey, Jim, everyone say hi, Jim, first. His feelings get hurt if we don't do that first.
That Ignite class on Monday.
Yeah.
I know some people are taking that. They have a nice activity list for, which outlines, they target like 50 calls a week or whatever, but I've adjusted it to what makes sense. But when I actually started being honest with myself, I've been making these numbers of calls and these numbers of posts, these number of emails, I'm getting activity and results out of all those categories. So it's kind of a nice refresher for people that have been around for a while too, if they want to just get back to the basics.
So here's one of the things that I always, so when I would teach on something, I would, teach like, this is the basics of, this is the basics. And the challenge with that word for me is we oftentimes think elementary, right? This basic is, but really it is the, rock stars agents out there that are doing these core things. This is the core. So I go back to, instead of saying basic, I use the core. These are the things that are at the core of a successful real estate agent's business. Okay, how many did you write down?
8. I know.
If you have the shift book, there's a whole list of them. There's a whole list of them on page 55. But today what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about
Noon, Kevin.
taking all of them. Okay, what's that?
It's afternoon, just to let you know.
Is it really?
It's 12:10.
Man, see the clock right there. All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do exactly what Bethany said. Okay, page 55, if you didn't write down a bunch there, there's some too. Shift tactic 4 starts with looking at your lead source, eliminating some of the things that you're doing, and doubling down on the things that you are doing. Doubling down can be done 3 different ways in SLS. I could share, I'll send out a little email to you later because it's from SLS. But you could do it with time and effort. You could do it with additional resources, and you can build a skill on it. So look at the 3 things that are working. Like put on there. If you were tracking your number, you could put, I had 3 closings from this, had 1 closing from this. I didn't have any from this. Man, I've spent a lot of time and money here, but it's only giving me 1 closing. Track on that, double down on the things that are working. Double down means give it more time and effort, give it more resource, and give it more skill-based training. Good? It's Candy. She took all the time. All right, meeting's over. Have an awesome week.